Bruce back along with Bobby Chase.
All right, Sam, Bobby, you've seen Frankie Liles. Now, what do you think?
Tell you what, he's looking a lot like a mirror image of Michael Nunn. Southpaw, tall, lanky, not a big puncher. May punch just a little more crisp than Nunn, but Nunn, in my mind right now, clearly has the experience in his mind. He's been in with the better competition. I think that that's going to come out as we get a little later into the fight.
How do you have it scored right now?
Well, right up until that the last part of that last round, I had Liles ahead by a little bit. He might still have a slight edge, or it's pulled to about even, but it's a dead close fight, and the experience is going to be the factor right now.
We always talk about the difficulty of fighting a southpaw. What about when one fights another?
You know, I never thought about that too much because normally when I face one, it's always annoying. I guess they know each other pretty well.
All right, let's go back to the two southpaws south of the equator, and here's Sam Smith.
Thank you, Bruce. You see this crowd in a semblance here. Roman Yahweh Coliseum, named after the great general that was the last of the Inca Indians, emperors before it fell to the Spaniards back in 1534. And, of course, honored throughout this great city of Quito as they're underway in round number 5. Now, does Nunn keep up the pressure he had in the 4th round? That's another question.
He has been taking a round off, then fighting around. I have it just like Bobby. I have it 38-38, and thanks to that last little rally that pulled that round for Michael Nunn. But the only thing I saw is a little bit tired now with his mouth open. Maybe the nervousness of being in a really big fight with a guy that has a great reputation like Nunn is working on him a little bit. Doesn't seem to bother Nunn. Nunn is just going along like he always does.
You know, Michael Nunn made an interesting comment when he arrived here in Quito. He said, I'm going to win my 3rd World Championship on Saturday night. If I don't win my 3rd title, I promise to stay in Ecuador for a year. Rather interesting comment.
Chamber of Commerce should use that in their next ad. Hey, this guy loses it, he's going to punish himself by staying here for a year.
Frankie Liles said he wanted to come, do his business, and get out of here with his first title defense. Said one of the things that was very difficult as he got ready for this fight, though, was all of the hoopla that was surrounding, of course, the Mercado fight. And then all of a sudden he thought for a moment, and he and Freddie Rowe coach in unison said, you know, we're kind of living in their shadow again, and we're kind of enjoying it because we're going about our business. And so is Frankie Liles right now in his 5th round.
And all those little punches landed, not with any perceptible effect, but it's like a little waterfall there. It's just raining on it. But Nunn is fighting hard. I mean, when he throws, it's hard. He just doesn't throw enough.
Another warning to Nunn about throwing a apparent low blow again.
I mean, it will be amazing if they don't take a round away, a point away, because all of his blows have been low when he goes to the body.
Less than a minute to go in the 5th round, scheduled for 12. Nunn again trying to put on that little flurry at the end of the round to try to steal it back.
When he tries, he looks good to it. In the meantime, Frankie just keeps on whittling away. Look at this. You see his 3, 4, 5, 6 punches, and then look at this. There now been 10 or 11 punches by Frankie Liles, and nothing by Nunn. He's just kind of taking it. Well, that costs you points. Look at this. It's now about 15, 16 punches.
You know, Nunn seems like a guy you'd be very frustrated with if you were a trainer or manager with this guy.
Well, there are. I mean, he's had a lot of it. Listen, if you can frustrate the great Angelo Dundee, and I don't think he was particularly frustrated by it, it's just that he couldn't get him to do what he wanted him to do. You know, Angelo builds a fire in the corner under you. If you don't get going, you got more trouble in the corner than you got in the ring with Angelo. So, I mean, he must have gone crazy with Nunn.
Well, Frankie Liles may have hugged with Nunn through the 4th, but he came out throwing some pretty good punches in the 5th round as both fighters retreat to their corner. And again, Frank Liles, the champion defending his title, is back in the dressing room. You take a look at the guys getting ready. This, of course, is Bernard Hopkins as he gets ready to come out as the #1 IBF contender for the middleweight title. However, he has to fight in the opponent's hometown, and it's right here in Quito. Very confident young man, with the exception of the one problem coming in so late.
Yeah.
It's got to be a problem.
That's not his fault. That's his manager's fault. Let's take a look at the low blow. And this is, I repeat, this is not an isolated incident. This has been going all 5. Now, that one wasn't really low. That one was on the B there, between the B and the L.
You see Nunn's corner working frantic on him, really just trying to get him pumped into the fight again.
Come on, Rose.
Lee Roach doing the same with the champion, and there's the bell as we're off and running in round 6.
An even fight. It's for either man to take it. One punch changes things around. One guy drops the other, and the momentum changes. But there's very little to pick from between these two guys. I mean, Frankie doing the workmanlike job, conscientious and working every minute that he can, and Nunn looking slick and beautiful and fighting when he wants to. Sometimes enough to win the round, and sometimes not.
You take a look at the activity of these two fighters. Liles, most active years, 90 and 91. 6 fights in 97 and 91. He won all 13 of those. Had only 7 fights in the last 3 years, however. The other side, of course, Michael Nunn, very active, 85, 86, 87. Had a total of 26 fights, won them all in those 3 years. Only 13 fights in the last 6 years, however. Or, of course, Michael Nunn, former 2-time world champion. Middleweight, super middleweight. WBA title that he lost, he's trying to regain again tonight. And he leans on Liles again here in the 6th round.
Not much happening with the shots in the body because they're so weak. They're just kind of play shots and not really hurting anybody. But men again have apparently elected to be satisfied to take off this round and fight slow. Slowly, they are working themselves into an even round. One over the other better take them in. How many more times can he warn him before he takes off a point? That's the 3rd time that he said to him, keep the blows up.
You know, Ferdy, both these fighters started out very actively in the first 2 rounds. They coasted a bit in the 4th, a more active 5th round, and now in the 6th, they seem to again have started the round coasting a bit, and now Nunn starts coming out punching a little bit here.
That was a great series of punches by Nunn, but now see he stops. He's got to come right back. He can't let this guy get off again.
Nunn, of course, trying to preserve his energy. Maybe that just under 10,000 feet may be starting to take its toll.
Well, I tell you, it takes its toll on your brains, if not on your body. You start thinking about it. I better save some. I'm only starting here. I better get, and he's fighting in flurries like he's thinking about altitude. I don't think it's they're exactly wearing down. You can't see any wild evidence of it. But certainly it's got to be on their mind. I mean, I think, if Nunn had the consistency that Liles did to work all the time, he could probably have knocked him. Oh, now that one is a very low blow, and this has got to cost him. That's the point.
That's it. In the 6th round. So on more than a half a dozen occasions, low blows were thrown by Nunn. Maybe 3 or 4 of those were acknowledged by the referee, and now this one in the 6th brings a 1-point deduction to Michael Nunn, and in a close fight, Ferdy, that is a very serious deduction right now.
For example, I thought Michael was winning the run and looking good, winning the round and looking good, and now you take a point out, makes it an even round. So, good luck. Neither guy got anything out of that.
We have gone halfway through the scheduled 12 rounders. The bell just ends the 6th round.
It's the championship time, son. Come on. Frankie, what you got to do is you're working the body fine in there, all right? You're taking the punches from the way, though. You're a little bit too tight. Take a half step back and fire the uppercut to the middle. You hear me? When he's leaning on you, half step back, bring it up. Uppercut right to the chin. Right there. Right to the body. You don't have nothing left. All right? It's got nothing, man. When he's leaning on you, you half step back and rip the uppercut. You hear me, son?
Let's take a look and see on the final low blow that brings the 1-point deduction here.
No question about it.
A lot of doubt.
There is no question about it.
So with a 1-point deduction in the 6th round against Nunn, Frankie Liles in almost a dead heat fight. They have taken a slight advantage as both fighters are anxious to get underway in the 7th round. If we continue in a very tight fight, let me bring to mind, in this fight, in the super middleweights, there's been only 1 draw. As you see Nunn coming out early.
The reaction is he's mad because he's complaining about low blows. And now, another one of those days. And now Liles is complaining to the referee, hey, he's hitting me low again.
So as Nunn complains, then Liles does his complaining. And now they're back fighting again. Only 1 draw in the super middleweight title fight. 30, you were there, June 1989. Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hitman Hearns.
Oh, yeah, what a wonderful night that was. 2 magnificent fighters. Now, you see, Nunn continues to punch low. He just doesn't regard it, because he's not doing it intentionally. I mean, but it is going south of the word. See, another low one, but just borderline. Now, look at, see now, Liles wants to come on. Liles says,